Good evening, viewers. Welcome once again to Town Media News. My name is Rabiatu Mohammed. Let's look at our top stories. Women should contest women during election, says Esla Busu. It is unwise that Akufo-Addo is silent about military atrocity under Ashiaman, says Apieje Etia. And John Dramani Mahama pledges to look into the 8 killings before the 2020 election. Details of this story comes up shortly. Now to our first story. Women should contest women during election, says Esla Owusu. Women should be permitted to run against other women in election, according to Esla Owusu Ekufu, the Minister of Communication and Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West.
She claims that this will guarantee that men and women are equally represented in Parliament, and there are presently only 40 female MPs, despite the fact that women make up 50.1% of the total population. She stated that there needs to be a rise in the proportion of women participating in national administration. She went on to say that Parliament should be organized similarly to Ghana, where there is nearly equal representation of males and women in the population.
To an interesting story. It is unwise that Akufo-Addo is silent about military atrocity under Ashiaman, says Apieje Etia. Kwadwo Apieje Etia, an associate professor of law at the University of Ghana in Legon, finds President Akufo-Addo's silent response to the violence committed by the Ashiaman military unfortunate. Speaking on Joy News' News File program.
He claimed that the president ought to have denounced the violence right away and reprimanded the military high command for their careless management of the so-called intelligence-led operation, which resulted in the arbitrary detention of about 187 locals.
The soldiers may have gone on a frolic of their own, but this one was a so-called intelligence-led operation orchestrated by the military high command. And whether it went haywire or not, which I don't believe that was the case, something has gone wrong and somebody should own up. And so far, nobody has owned up, and the president should do so. So not saying anything at all is very, very unfortunate.
He continued, cautioning that the president's prolonged silence would allow the military to carry out its brutality unabated and further deteriorate civilian-military relations in the nation, which could have disastrous long-term effects. He has urged the president to denounce the remarks made by the defense minister and his deputy and perhaps fire those members of the military high command who approved the operation.
To our last story. John Dramani Mahama pledges to look into the 8 killings before the 2020 election. Former President John Dramani Mahama, an aspirant for the presidency in the National Democratic Congress (NDC), has pledged to launch inquiries into the killings of 8 people during the 2020 election. He has therefore reassured the family of everyone who died during the tragic events that they should not lose hope.
The 8 people tragically died from gunshot wounds during the 2020 elections, which military troops are said to have fired. Prior to the NDC presidential primaries on May 13, 2023, Mr. Mahama is meeting with party members in the Bono East region. The former president chose to tour all 275 constituencies and speak with branch and constituency executives, despite being the front-runner and party officials urging him not to bother campaigning.
That's all for now. Let's look at our top stories. Women should contest women during election. It is unwise that Akufo-Addo is silent about military atrocity under Ashiaman, says Apieje Etia. And John Dramani Mahama pledges to look into the AIDS killings before the 2020 elections. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to Vibetown Media News on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Rabiatu Mohammed. Good night.